Our first panel we'll put the spotlight on is an amalgamation of India's top minds, next level CIOs who will be giving us their insights. And we shall be putting the focus on bringing innovation to life and how IT leaders are transforming retail whilst driving return on investment on their IT spend. So that's what they'll be discussing, a whole lot of stuff out there. We're just waiting for the panel to make their entry. They've been there hard at work discussing the nuances of this panel, and we're just waiting for them to come in and take their places. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome our panel. He is Chief Information Officer, Burger King. Please welcome Kiran Komatla. Come on, can we have a round of applause? It will help all of us warm up for a very exciting day ahead. He is co-founder and Chief Technology Officer, Carrot Lane, a Tanishq partnership. Please welcome Gurukirti Gurunathan. He is Chief Information Officer, Country IT Leader, Decathlon Sports India. A warm welcome to Adarsh Balaji. Let's welcome the head of Genesis, Jitendra Vyas. He is CIO India and South Africa, Forever New Clothing. A warm welcome to Zahid Ansari. And ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our most erudite moderator. He is partner Deloitte India, Abhinav Chaturvedi. Gentlemen, welcome. It's all yours. Over to you, Abhinav.
Hello. Cool. Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and good morning to my fellow panelists. It is a pleasure for all of us to be here. We are talking about a very exciting topic, which is about innovation and technology in retail. This is a topic which is close to everyone's heart. This is a topic which touches a lot of people in general. And for me, especially coming from Deloitte, this is something which is my bread and butter. And I spend a lot of time with the technologists, people who are involved in innovation in retail. And that's why this is a very exciting group for me, because I keep getting a lot of ideas, and which I can talk about them in other forums. So without further ado, let me start with you, Kiran, on what are your views, especially in your industry. What's happening latest in the QSR industry when it comes to innovation?
Yeah, hi, good morning, everybody. So in QSR industry, today what you see is people don't want to go to restaurant, people wanted to order from home. So that's one of the biggest shift what is happening over a period of time. From last 5 years, we see people ordering from home, and our challenge is to deliver the same experience, innovation, product to the customers, to their home or office desk. So that is one of the key point where most of us are working towards, and we are in the journey of getting our restaurant to your desk, or you are at your home dining table.
Thanks, Kiran. And just continuing the theme, so Adarsh, we were talking in the backstage room about all the sectors, but we did not touch upon your specific sector, which is into sports retailing. I don't know how you define it, but Decathlon is one of my favorite brands, and personally as a consumer, I've been to your store and I see a lot of things which are happening which are technology based. So what are some of those things that you have done in the recent past to enhance customer experience?
Sure. So
Can you keep it closer?
So speaking about Decathlon, we are really proud about what we were able to achieve, the last 40 years of retail. Starting with having stores across the world. In India, we adapted some practices which worked well across the globe, and typically to focus on what our customer needs are today with the sports industry. With pandemic coming in, we wanted to really make the healthy living for our customers And of course, if we are taking care of the playground which we believe in, wherein our next generation of customers is going to come and challenge us, I think that's where we believe a lot of technological advancement has to be there. Uh, so let's say, for example, I would like to call upon some of the initiatives that we took during the pandemic. Let's say the zero contact checkout experience, wherein I'm sure we spoke about it as well. It was something wonderful amidst of all the difficult situations. Customers are safely able to come to our stores and have a smooth and seamless experience shopping without waiting in and reducing a lot of touch points. I think that's where our mindset towards technological initiatives and innovation started.
Thanks, Adarsh. But see, a lot of companies use this term new retail, right? What does that mean for a brand like Decathlon, which has already a huge presence across multiple geographies, continents? So what does new retail mean for you?
See, according to me, new retail is nothing but connecting the dots. Uh, let's say today we are talking about omni-channel experience for our customers, having an online journey and offline journey with personalized experience through AI and probably a tailor-made, services for our customers. I think that's something that we should continue to embrace, definitely. And secondly, how are we making our customers to use us? So that's secondly what my inclinations are always towards. Third for me is, let's say, create a mindful living, of course, because our products are really meant for that. And fourth point for me is, our customers are basically expecting two important things. One is speed and convenience. How retailers can provide that opportunities to do so is mainly going to be the important ball game. And with that, let's say our products, our people, and by harnessing the power of technology, I'm sure we will be able to build one ecosystem and give it to our customers to be associated with a brand like Decathlon, not just for shopping. It is much more than that.
Sure, thanks a lot. Guru, if I may come to you, this is another high involvement category, which is jewelry. Now, especially during COVID, how have you seen things evolving? And given that India is still a very, most of the buyers are more touch and feel and, they want to experience it. So what does that mean? So for example, I was reading a statistic somewhere that the e-commerce sales for jewelry in India is still around 1% of the overall sales. Do you see that increasing? Do you see that changing?
Yeah, first of all, thanks India Omnichannel Forum for inviting CaratLane. So I represent CaratLane, which is India's leading omnichannel jewelry company. And so the question is very relevant and pertinent. How do we actually make people buy a product online, which is so much of a touch and feel? Because this is the age-old problem for a business like us. We started way back in 2008. From that point on, we are actually working on the same problem statement and made significant progress on it. What used to be a big friction point earlier now has become a breather, and easily we are able to have consumer walk into our showroom, and we are present about 128 locations across India. So the first touch point is either online or offline, whichever way it happens. What we do is we actually connect the journey of the customer. If they start online, we ensure that that behavior that they've exhibited online across various touch points is not lost, and they can start from where they left from online into the showroom. I'll tell you how it works. So if they have been browsing online and they have added certain things into their cart or wishlisted, when they're walking into the showroom, or even before that, we actually tell them immediately that these particular products that they've actually wishlisted or added to the cart, that's present in a store near them. So when they walk into the storeroom, that particular product is, if it's available, this will mostly be available because we notify them as well. The salesperson will be able to block that inventory for the customer to come and take it up and pick it up. And apart from that, they can actually view more other products which is in the retail showroom. During the COVID, it was because we are born digital company, when everybody and the consumers were not walking into the showroom or buying, during the first wave and the second wave, the engineering, anyways, the technology team was busy in action because all the work is getting done remotely. So we launched many interesting features. One is there is a live viewing option that we created for consumers remotely who can see the products live with one of our associates wearing it, or even see the real images, because size is a big problem. The touch and feel has to be solved some way by viewing the product in a remote camera setup. So we created an ecosystem for that. We created a studio for doing that approach. We also launched a digital gold feature in our site. So people can buy, sell digital gold online and be able to redeem it against a jewelry also. And many things that we have done on try at home, where consumer can actually book appointments with our sales agent, shortlisting few products. This has been there for some time, but we started actually investing more on that. We created more try at home centers across India. We expanded that feature because of the COVID, because people will not be able to walk in. So we took the jewelry to the homes of the people, shortlisting, including their shortlisted items, on top of it, more products also to the customers. And the journey starts from. So all of this is interconnected. So once you have a profile, we actually attach a lot of these attributes to the customer and have a 360-degree view of the customers, making it happen. So retail penetration, when it comes to online penetration, is about close to 1%. It has been hovering around that for a long time, whereas it's a more than a $50 billion industry, the jewelry is, and India and China being the largest consumers, right? India is still yet to catch up with China in terms of that penetration, but all these retail players are now working towards it. This last COVID is a big time for people to adopt it. So I'm assuming that more players coming into the field will definitely enhance that experience and make this number go up. But it'll take at least a decade to reach where US is today in terms of even online purchases for jewelry. So it's a journey that everybody has embarked, and CaratLane being on the pioneering side definitely as well. There are a lot of players, also new players coming up. Everybody is welcome to come into that space in order to move this number a little higher towards the US or a China kind of a number.
Absolutely. And this is a recurring theme which we keep hearing across sectors, across different type of product lines. In fact, this is something we were talking just a while back, that it's no longer about viewing these channels in isolation. We can call it converged commerce or integrated commerce, but it is about viewing the whole journey in totality. It could start from online, it could end at offline, or it could start from offline online. So the whole O2O piece is something that organizations need to figure out. So Zahid, if I could just come to you, apparel industry is another one which has its own unique set of characteristics. And there are a number of use cases that we keep hearing about the use of data, artificial intelligence, in apparel especially. What has your experience been in Forever New?
So thanks, Abhinav. A great question indeed. So I'll actually start with the data part, because nowadays the business, or in fact the companies, are moving towards data-driven. Rather, traditionally what we used to see that a lot of companies used to work basis on intuition, that how much business they will do, and their planning and everything, it's all on a intuition basis. I mean, with all this disruption, a good thing happens that companies have started realizing that they need to have data, to take decisions. So nowadays, companies are moving towards data-driven strategies. If they are not doing that, probably it would be hard time for them, to continue in the business. And we do the same thing. We collect a lot of data, terabytes of data, and it's not an easy activity, because collecting data is the easiest part in the whole ecosystem. Now, how you utilize this data, that is the main game. So we spend a lot of efforts in refining those data and making it useful. And then we try to build intelligence on that, the artificial intelligence that you're talking about. So we have quality data. We use a lot of algorithms, to use that data. We use it for various purposes. The biggest area where I can see where we are actually utilizing this data is for our planning purposes. Like, how do we plan? How do we know, what products we need to order, what products we need to manufacture? So it's all a data-driven decisions that we have started taking. And we are doing it so perfectly that we are one of the organization, specifically in the retail, who doesn't have too much of liquidation after the seasons. As you see, a lot of retailers, other retailers, in fact, what they do, they run end of season sales, to liquidate their stocks and all. We don't face too much of problem, because the planning is so much accurate, and we are doing it greatly with the help of data. Other areas where we are actually utilizing artificial intelligence is in doing personalization for our customer, which is a customer-facing thing. Uh, how do we, make customer experience much better? How do we personalize things? We know the demographics of the customers, from where it is coming, what is buying, in what age our customers are, who are our frequent buyers, who are our loyal customers, who are buying again and again. How much, what we can actually do, for those loyal customers. So in fact, rather waiting for our customers, to come to our stores and explore our products, we proactively reach to them, stating that, because we know their taste, we know what they are actually looking for. So we reach out to them proactively that this is our latest range. Why don't you, try this out? We know their special occasions, we know their anniversaries, their birthdays. We actually reach out to them, offering something that, it's your birthday. Why don't you come and celebrate with us? And we'll give you certain discounts. So that's how we are actually utilizing data. And I can go on and on. There are many cases, but these are the two prime areas where we actually utilize data to a great extent and use intelligence on top of that.
Absolutely, thanks. And see, so the use of data, again, as you said, in enhancing the customer experience and increasing the profitability or improving the chances of stocking the right type of products, right? So Jitendra, if I can come to you from your vantage point, how do you see the role of technology? Obviously, a lot of this data comes from the technology touch points that we have, the digital touch points that we have with customers. So how do you see that evolving? And especially in the context of customer experience.
Yeah, I'm Jitendra from Genesis. I represent a company. We are into a technology. We provide ERP solutions, POS solutions, planning solutions. So overall, what we have seen that there has been a major change in the customer expectations. All these CIOs, probably earlier, it was more like a support function. Now it has been considered more like a business functions, and they are being treated more like as a business functions. They are part of the steering committee, and they are actually become a very critical part of the functions. And in terms of IT, there are so many integrations which has been required now to be done. There are various touch points that need to be integrated. Earlier, organization used to have applications primarily for inventory management, for their POS operations, or for accounting. Now they want to experience multiple applications. They want to have different applications. And integration become a very critical part of it. And these integrations, touch points need to be created so that the customer can get a complete experience, be it from a planning perspective, be it from a customer loyalty point of view, be it from an omni-channel point of view. All these points has to be integrated. And unless and until these are integrated, the customer will not be given a complete experience.
So continuing on the same thing, Guru, if I can bring you in, I know CaratLane is extremely data-driven business. You track a number of KPIs and use those metrics to improve the customer experience and run the entire operations. So how do you ensure conversion of this data into actionable insights at the store?
Yeah, quite a lot of work that gets done over there. Every department is very sensitive about this. And it's not only the technology team that has to be thinking about it or providing this. All departments are self-initiating many of these activities so that they collect the data of the consumers. So for example, digital marketing is very, very fully involved on the entire digital ecosystem, and then they collect all the touch points, the cost per session or average sessions per user, the pages per session. And we also, one of the important things that we have done is understanding the intent of the customer. That we use machine learning to derive the intent of the customer based on all the signals that they exhibit, either on the website or when they are actually physically walking into the showroom. There, when the data is collected from the user on where they are walking, what kind of products that they are selling, or what kind of products that they are interested in, expressing their interest, that also plays a role in bringing back into the central data inventory. and then the intent gets much more stronger for the customer, because it takes a lot of effort for a consumer to walk into a showroom. Then that intent now becomes an actionable it becomes much more easier for a marketing folk to target that particular customer by way of all the digital means that's available today. So earlier it's about spray and pray, right? You just spray everywhere and then see what comes out of it. But now it's a very, very targeted and precision based analysis is being done. Also targeting, retargeting is being done so that they walk into this. So we measure it at all levels. One is from a marketing at the cost level. The other one is at the user level also. Where are they coming from? Physically, which pin code are they based out of? Which store are they walking into? So start from grounds up. Pin code is the lowest unit. Build it into a region, city-wise, and then start planning from that perspective. And then that feeds into even the planning for the revenue planning for the company. How much is the potential in a particular catchment area, and how much we need to be investing more on certain areas, and then build up into the revenue plan. From a cost perspective, there is a lots of automation and data points there that goes into the picture to see how much of money is being invented in on either efficiency building or manual work that is being done, and put a cost metric towards that. Try to use technology to bring that down. And we also do a lot of sentiment analysis of the consumer feeds. So what are they talking about? I mean, what is the big pain point for a customer? And is it negative or it's neutral, it's positive, NPS driven? Quite a lot of things happens. The monthly planning goes with everything on digital. We all talk about across the organization on digital data points and what insights that we take, what actions that we do. Hence, launching more products. We recently launched a rental model in Mumbai. It's called Adorn. It's a jewelry rental, because building on the rental economy, right? Because we've realized that people still want to wear expensive jewelry like a Tiffany or a Cartier, and they're not able to buy it, or they don't want to buy it for a one occasion or a two occasion. So we created this rental business model. Now that is also a data-driven insight, to build it. Of course, it is just now started, so we'll have to build and capitalize on it. So likewise, and we launched international website recently, because we realized a lot of NRIs are coming to CaratLane website and they are buying it for for themselves, because we used to do international business and shipping from here. Now that actually extended and started giving us an idea that we should be present in America and other regions where NRIs are heavily concentrated, because they are coming from these regions. And then now we opened up an international presence in US and started building the business there. So it's not only for repeat users or for the new users, it's also building a strategic decision, and all of this plays a very big role in building that decision for the organization.
Yeah, and you see the importance of data. I think all of you have spoken about it, and what that has meant is that there's always a tough war between brands and retailers in a way. So most of the brands nowadays are trying to become vertically integrated. Some of them have adopted a horizontal approach. Kiran, if I can bring you in the QSR industry especially, what is the role of the aggregators or the delivery guys? So how does that take away, or how do you see that as part of your ecosystem?
From over last 5 years, you see so many aggregator business cropped up, and that has been a big mainstream. And today, if you see, a large portion of QSRs or restaurant business happen on these platforms. So they are playing an important role as how the other retail industry is getting the data. If you go into a QSR, we don't have a luxury of taking customer information at the point of sale. The purpose of quick service restaurant is to check out the customer in a minutes, right? So we don't capture data at the point of sales. But once the entire new streams of business channels through aggregators came, here when you are delivering the food to a customer, you know more than customer, like customer workspace, customer home, customer taste, what he orders, where he orders, when he orders. So there are a lot of data touch points which have been captured in the systems. And this delivery business is not only restricted to a aggregator channels, but every QSR also have their own main platforms, mobile-based apps and delivery websites, and where we capture the data. So here the large portion of sales is still coming from the aggregators. that is also being a influence point for many of the actions in the industry. Like if you want to open a restaurant in a tier 2 city, you can exactly map where the location of the store should be there and how much catchment can be covered in terms of delivery as per day parts. Like in Mumbai, if you wanted to deliver somewhere in Bandra in a peak hours, not even a kilometer you can deliver because of traffic constraints. But the same in some off-peak hours, you can deliver up to 10 kilometers. So these all are completely data-driven points which come through this aggregator models. We understand data, and accordingly you harmonize your entire ecosystem of delivery. And coming to the aggregators influence on QSRs, yes, they are being currently a traffic drivers, so they are driving a lot of traffic to us, and parallelly brands are also building their own delivery systems, and evidently customers shift from both sides, and today's modern customer know where to buy, when to buy, and customer go and do their study over the platforms to see their offerings, to see the convenience, to see what is the quality of product they get. So it's completely left to the choice of a customer. So someone who wanted to directly order on a brand app, and they will get a different experience. When they are ordering an aggregator, they may get a few more bucks of discount, and they may get a delivery from some other partners. So that's how this ecosystem is getting built around. And now predominantly the delivery business is growing up, and majority of the restaurants are started getting into the model of delivery, either by their own platforms or leveraging the aggregators which are available in the market.
Thanks. We are almost out of time, but maybe one last couple of questions, Zahid, to you. What is the single most important thing that a customer looks for in the retail experience today, especially in the post-COVID times?
See, if you ask about the customer, from a customer perspective, he definitely looks for an experience and speed. Gone are the days where you can actually say that you can deliver the products in a week's time or 5 days' time. Specifically in India, the kind of the marketplaces have actually spoiled the customers, that by doing a same-day delivery or a next-day delivery. So it's becoming hard for retailers like us, to manage the same customer expectations. But it's good to have. Customers these days expect a uniform experience because the competition is high. They know what other brands are doing. That information is available on your phone. So you need to, live up to that expectations. I see a lot of big brands, they have a very good presence in their offline stores and all. They create very beautiful stores and they provide a world-class experience. But when you actually see their online presence, it's like they have online presence just for the sake of having it. The experience there is the customer journey on the UI or the overall journey on the online experience is not matching with their offline standards. This is where the customer doesn't like because if a customer is loyal to you, you need to build a uniform experience across the stores. You need to keep speed in your mind. In everything, in the entire customer journey, how much customer is spending time on your website. You need to have a KPIs, whether you have your site is not performing well or it is taking long to load. How quickly you are able to dispatch the product, how quickly you can deliver the products. These are some of the new tats which the customer are expecting. So I believe these are the things which customers are looking for.
Sure. Thanks a lot. We are out of time, but maybe Adarsh, if you would just want to add something to it, just 10 seconds.
Sure. So I think, like I said already, speed is one, and of course, convenience is also, one such thing that we need to enrich to our customers, because today our customers are demanding. Gone are the days wherein we can set certain guidelines for shopping experience, but now they set the demand level. They raise the bars high and high, and we need to really think probably 1-2 year advance to say, okay, what things we can bring in. Probably that's where we should really look forward. I think customers are really going to be challenging with us, so let's try to live up to their expectations.
Great. Thank you. Unfortunately, we are out of time. This is a topic I would have loved to continue speaking. We can continue our discussion outside. But thanks a lot to all of you for these valuable insights. You packed a lot of it within 30 minutes. So thank you, everyone. And I would hand it over back to the organizers.